The first is titled, The Last Sleepover at Danny's House. Hey everyone. This isn't something I ever thought I'd post, but the recent string of true crime stories I've been reading here brought it all back. I haven't really talked about this outside of therapy. I was 13 when it happened. I'm 28 now, and it still keeps me up sometimes. I grew up in a pretty normal suburb, the kind of place where every kid on the block played together and our moms organized potlucks. It was safe, quiet. Nothing ever happened there. That's why what did happen still doesn't feel real. Danny was my best friend from 4th grade on. Her house was the fun one. Basement full of board games, snack jar always stocked, parents that let us stay up late as long as we kept the noise down. Her dad was a little weird though. Not in a way I could explain as a kid, just off. He worked nights a lot, and when he was home, he either stayed locked in his office or hung around watching us for a while without saying anything. Danny always rolled her eyes about it. "He's just a big weirdo," she'd say. "Ignore him." That Friday night, it was me, Danny, and Lacey from our class. We were going into 8th grade that fall and obsessed with those dumb ghost hunting shows. Danny said her attic was haunted, so we planned to investigate with her dad's old camcorder. Just kid stuff. The night started normal. Pizza, nail polish, spooky stories. Around 11, we went up to the attic with the flashlights. It was cramped and dusty, the insulation visible in some places, but no ghosts, obviously. We played along anyway, pretending to hear footsteps, whispering into the camera like we were on TV. Around midnight, Danny's mom knocked and said goodnight from the bottom of the attic stairs. I remember the way she looked up at us, kind of nervous, like she wanted to say something else. But then she smiled and left. I remember back then, thinking that her smile seemed forced. After she went to bed, we kept joking around, whispering about boys we liked, that kind of thing. Then Lacey fell asleep with her face in a pillow, and Danny said she had to go to the bathroom. I stayed up there alone, trying to play back the tape footage we made on the camcorder. 10 minutes passed, then 15. I crept downstairs quietly, not wanting to wake anyone, but the bathroom light was off. I whispered Danny's name. "Danny." No answer. I checked the kitchen, the living room, the basement. Nothing. Then I heard a noise from the garage. I wish that I hadn't opened that door. I wish I could go back to that night and just run home instead. The light was on in there, flickering slightly. Danny's dad's car was gone. He wasn't supposed to be working that night. But there was something else. The attic camcorder was laying on the hood of the second car, playing footage. The screen showed Danny in the attic, but she wasn't filming for fun anymore. She was looking into the camera, whispering something over and over. "If you see this, run. If you see this, run. If you see this, run." I backed away so fast I knocked over a broom. The clatter echoed through the garage, and I heard footsteps. Heavy, slow, deliberate, coming from the basement stairs. I didn't wait. I sprinted back through the kitchen and up to the attic, shook Lacey awake hard. She was groggy, annoyed. I didn't explain, just told her we had to go. Now. Something in my voice must have worked because she didn't argue. We snuck out of the attic window onto the garage roof and dropped into the backyard. I tore a hole in my pajama pants climbing the fence. I didn't care. We ran until we hit my house. I didn't stop to breathe until we were on my front porch. My mom called Danny's house right away. No answer. The cops showed up 20 minutes later. They found Danny's mom unconscious in the basement laundry room. Head injury. Alive, but barely. They found Danny 2 hours later, in the crawl space under the house. Tied up, shaking, but alive. They didn't find her dad. I didn't see him that night. I don't even know if he was there when we were filming. But someone had put the camera in the garage. Someone had been watching us in the attic. Danny's family moved away less than a month later. Her mom didn't want to stay in the house, obviously. We tried to keep in touch, but you know how it goes. Last I heard, she had changed her last name. I think she works in the library somewhere. As for me, I lost interest in going to sleepovers after that. My parents didn't let me out of their sight for a year, and I still don't like attics, or basements, or flickering lights. I never figured out what Danny saw that made her record that message. I never asked. Part of me thinks she doesn't know either. Or maybe she does, and that's why she doesn't talk about it. But I remember the way her voice sounded on that tape. Flat. Final. If you see this, run. The second story is titled, I Went to a Sleepover. I'm the only one who came back. I haven't said any of this out loud since the trial. They told me I didn't need to, but you know how memories work. The real ones. The bad ones. They rot in your gut if you don't let them out. So here it is. I was 14. It was the last sleepover I ever went to. Samantha lived in one of those half-finished suburban developments where everything feels too quiet and the streetlights flicker like they're apologizing. Her house backed up against woods that hadn't been cleared yet. I remember that because her little brother told me there were coyotes out there. I joked that maybe there were werewolves. He didn't find it funny. It was supposed to be 5 of us that night. Me, Samantha, Zoe, Bree, and Lydia. We'd planned it for weeks. Nail art, ghost stories, prank calls, movies, the usual. We all got dropped off around 6 p.m. Samantha's parents made pizza and left around 9 to go to a friend's anniversary party. They said they'd be back by 1 a.m. The first few hours were normal. We messed around with TikTok filters, did each other's makeup like clowns, dared each other to text our crushes. Around midnight, we made a blanket fort in the living room and started watching some horror movie on Netflix that we'd already seen a dozen times. I don't even remember the name now. What I do remember is when Zoe got up to use the bathroom. She never came back. We waited. First jokingly, then nervously. After 10 minutes, Samantha went to check. She didn't find her. Not in the bathroom, not upstairs, not in what you could see of the backyard. Just gone. We all got that cold, metal feeling in our stomachs. You know the kind. That something's wrong feeling. Lydia thought maybe she'd gone to scare us, like a prank. But Zoe wasn't like that. Never had been. Samantha's phone had died, so I used mine to call her parents while it charged. No answer. Then I tried 911. No service. No service. We were 5 minutes from the main road, and somehow there was no signal. And that's when we heard it. The front door creaking open. Not fast, not all the way. Just enough. Lydia ran to look, thinking Zoe was screwing with us. She didn't come back. Bree locked the door behind her after that. She double bolted it and started crying. I remember thinking she looked way younger than 14 all of a sudden. We tried turning on the lights. Only the kitchen worked. The rest of the house flickered and died, one by one, until it was just that harsh kitchen glow buzzing over the sink. Samantha grabbed her dad's old baseball bat and said we should stay together. So we did. Sat on the living room floor, listening. That's when we heard the voice, low, just above a whisper. It was coming from the hallway. It said my name. Not like a question. Not like, hey, where are you? No. It felt much worse than that. Slow. Like they were sounding it out. I froze. Bree took off running. I don't blame her. She ran for the stairs, probably thinking she could lock herself in the parents' room. We heard her reach the top. Then we heard a thud. We saw her at the bottom of the staircase. One of her legs was bent wrong. She barely made any noise, probably in shock. She kept mouthing, "He pushed me," over and over, but we saw no one up there. Samantha and I tried dragging her to the kitchen, and that's when the back door in the kitchen opened. Wide, no sound, just cold air rolling in. Someone stepped in. He was barefoot, dirty looking, maybe 30. I couldn't see his face clearly, just the outline of him in that harsh kitchen light. He didn't run, didn't yell, just stood there, breathing heavy like he'd just finished a marathon. Samantha immediately swung the bat. He caught it midair. I don't remember much after that, just screaming, Samantha yelling at me to run, Bree half screaming, half crying, the pain of her leg catching up to her brain. I ran through the laundry room and out the side door barefoot. I didn't stop, not when I cut my foot on the gravel, not when I lost my phone. I made it to the neighbor's porch and pounded on the door until someone answered, looking confused and annoyed. The police came. They found Bree and Samantha. Zoe and Lydia were gone. No signs of a break-in. No fingerprints. No clues. Except for the attic. They found a mattress, a bucket, food wrappers. Someone had been living up there for weeks. We think he watched the family, learned their routines, waited for the night they'd leave the kids alone. They caught him eventually, 8 months later, 2 towns over, squatting in another attic. He had a knife, duct tape, and allegedly, one of Zoe's earrings in his pocket. Her body was never found. Samantha moved away. I haven't seen her since the trial. Bree never walked right again, and I haven't been to a sleepover since. Sometimes I still hear that voice in dreams, low, chewing my name, and I feel like that 14-year-old girl again, learning for the first time how truly dangerous the world can be. The third story is titled, He Never Signed Out of the Guest Book. I almost didn't write this. Honestly, it's the kind of thing that sounds too clean to be true. But every time I see one of those cheery slumber party ideas or some mom reminiscing about simpler times, it makes my stomach twist. Because I remember the moment when things stopped being simple for me. It was the summer before 9th grade. My friend Katie had the idea to throw a big sleepover, like 10 of us. Her parents had this old lake house they were fixing up for a few hours out of town, and they said we could use it for the weekend. No internet, no neighbors, just woods and water. We were all obsessed with the idea of being off-grid for a couple days. You know, movie marathons, dumb dares, maybe some innocent truth or dare smooching. It was supposed to be fun. And it was, at first. The place was dusty and smelled like mildew, but it had charm. We strung fairy lights across the rafters and spread sleeping bags on the hardwood floor. Katie had brought her Polaroid, and we took way too many blurry photos. We even found this ancient guest book in the entryway table, like the kind people sign in cabins. Pages and pages of scrawled names, dates, little messages. I lost my first tooth here. Best fishing trip ever. Back for year 6. Harmless stuff. Until we found his entry. It was dated 3 years prior. Unlike the others, it was in heavy black ink. Block letters, no signature. Just one line. Still here. Katie thought it was a joke. We all did. Like some bored cousin trying to be edgy, upset that he couldn't get back to his video games. But it stuck with me. I don't know why. Maybe it was the way the pen had dug into the paper, leaving deep grooves. Or maybe it was the smell of that entryway, stronger than the rest of the cabin. That night, we watched horror movies on a laptop until it died, then told scary stories until someone fell asleep mid-sentence. You know how it goes. I woke up around 2 a.m. to pee. That's when I saw him. I didn't hear him come in. There was no engine, no footsteps, no crunching gravel. But when I opened the bathroom door, I saw a man standing in the hallway, staring at the guest book table, not moving, not speaking. He was tall, wearing an old red hoodie with the hood up, hands in his pockets. I thought maybe it was someone's older brother playing a prank. I whispered, "Hello," thinking I'd laugh about it later. He turned. His face startled me. I know how this will read, but it truthfully looked unfinished. Smooth patches of skin where things should have been, like a child had drawn a face and then erased most of it. No eyebrows, no lips, just pale, sagging skin and wide, bloodshot eyes that didn't seem to blink. Memory may be exaggerating it, but there's truth in there. I slammed the bathroom door and locked it, staying in there until some of the others noticed I had been gone a while and got me. No one believed me when I told them. They said I was sleepwalking. I honestly started to believe them. I was only a kid, after all, and no one was hurt, and no one else saw him. But the next morning, the guest book was closed. The pen was on the floor. It wasn't like that when I had went to the bathroom. We left early. Katie's dad came to get us and checked all of the entrances and exits as a precaution. The door was still locked, all the windows too. No sign of a break-in. Nothing stolen. Except the Polaroids. The ones we took that first day, gone. All except the one. It was still in the guest book, tucked between pages. It showed us setting up the lights, everyone smiling, and in the corner of the far window, just behind Katie, someone was standing in the trees, wearing red. Being a child can make situations like these even scarier than they would be for an adult. There's only so much you can do, and people are more hesitant to listen to your concerns, often dismissing you because of a young age. Thinking on it reminds me of how everything went down in the first season of Stranger Things. It's a good show if you haven't checked it out yet. Thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed the stories and gameplay and want to hear more, leave a like and subscribe. Maybe a comment with content ideas. Goodbye, everyone. Stay safe out there.